but just clear my throat,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's given me a cough.
What?
I think having a cough drop has given me a cough.
That's the exact that's the exact opposite of what's supposed to happen. It's a psyop, man, I'm telling you.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, I pressed the record button.
Awesome, awesome. I like the idea that I'm sucking on a candy that's making me cough and it's supposed to clear my throat,
Right.
and it's doing the reverse.
I
So
think
actually, why don't you talk first and tell me how you're doing and what's going on with you for a minute while I finish
okay.
this candy.
Can do. Well, for those of you who may be tuning in to this episode, thank you so much for being here. Another special episode on Raisin Hell, here with your host Pi and our special guest Larry Vortex, aka Larry Fisher, aka Mr. Dolly Whirl himself, is here. We're gonna have a bit of a discussion about all sorts of things under the sun, namely this competition that Larry is a part of, the People's Artist, and whatever else whatever else happens.
What
Um,
do you know about this contest? Let's start there, right? Because the perception of what people think it is quite interesting.
yeah, well, personally, I have done some looking into it, and I have been reading your posts about it, and so from what I can gather, it seems like it is a fundraiser over everything. It is a fundraiser for this artistic charity, I guess that I'm blanking on the name of it. The artistic charity,
House of Elysium,
House of Elysium, and which
which is
does
from the Greek, mythology,
yeah,
Elysian fields.
mm-hmm, yeah, and I know
Do
that
you remember that
the
from your
Odyssey,
mythologies?
yeah, vaguely, yeah,
It's where warriors go, and they find happiness and
right,
joy after they're dead,
yeah,
and it's I think it's in the Brando play, the play that he was in. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, I'm blanking out on the play. Elijah Fields in New Orleans. Uh,
streetcar named
so
Desire.
yeah, Streetcar Named Desire, of course.
Okay,
Streetcar Named Desire.
I've never
I'm
actually
still
seen it.
I'm choking on the candy that I was sucking on.
Well,
So,
you're interrupting is what you're doing. It's no one's fault but your own.
right, right. Go for it. Continue on with with,
Okay.
uh, with with what you heard. Actually, the perception of what you heard before you read my stuff, and then now that you've read my stuff, is might be different. I'd be curious to hear what you had heard about it prior to anything that you heard from me.
Prior to that, I had never heard of it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah, no.
well, you heard about this contest, though, yes?
I've I'm honestly trying to remember. I'm trying to. It's like a chicken egg thing. I can't remember if I saw it independently or I think I saw it through you. Honestly,
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, I've seen
Oh,
other. I have
interesting.
other friends and acquaintances since who have also joined in, but I think you were one of the first people who I saw posting about it. I'm just not on Facebook that much, honestly.
Right. And did you think that like Johnny Depp had already awarded me a prize and was now hanging out with me in the backyard here, where I was?
That would be one of the least surprising things. Like that that I could have thought was happening. Yeah, I didn't know. So I clicked on it, I watched his video of him, talking about it. And so yeah, I thought it was interesting. I feel like I've seen similar competitions or similar fundraisers before. Not this particular one though, and I
Yeah,
hadn't heard of the.
I've heard of other competitions and stuff. I didn't realize that they were uh, fundraisers.
Yeah.
uh, as well. Uh, but I'm sure some of them were. It's an interesting concept. They
Yeah.
create this contest, and then it turns out to be a fundraiser, and then some people are disappointed, and I felt like, let me take advantage of this opportunity to have a wide audience for people to see the art, and then I recognized that uh, uh, I, you could buy votes,
You're right. Yeah, I think that was one of
and
the.
and so then it was became obvious that it was a fundraiser, and then I said, well, I've worked on fundraisers before. I worked on Beto O'Rourke's Senate campaign in
Sure.
Texas
Sure.
and his presidential campaign, so I knew how to raise money for things that I believed in.
Mm-hmm.
So then I said, well, let me see what this is. What is the House of Elysium? Is it a real charity? And I discovered that it was an amazing charity that did things for people, that they help creativity workshops for teens and kids and seniors, or as
Sure.
I like to, as now that I'm an elder, I
Uh-huh.
don't want to be a senior citizen. That's too communist sounding, like social. No, I want to be an elder.
Sure.
That way I sound like maybe I have magical powers.
Well, it's always nice to have some power, at least.
Yeah, it's always nice to have some power, and that's actually what a great point. Uh, I'm glad you brought up the idea of power,
Uh-huh.
because there's so uh, little power that people feel right now.
Right.
Yeah,
Um, I think one of the things, going back to the Art of Elysium and what I've been looking up, some of I think that, like you were saying, the charity itself does do good things. The concerning thing that I've noticed is that it's more on the artist side, and I think a lot of times that it's unfortunate that even though the artists are the people who are powering this, sometimes artists can get left behind or taken advantage of. And there was some, kind of troubling things that I saw just in regards to treatment of the artists and the artist IP in particular.
I think you're right, and I think, look, I came at it like this.
Uh huh.
I entered this contest. I didn't understand the fundraising aspect. Once I understood the fundraising aspect, and I saw that it was a charity worth having, then I decided that I could just do this uh, as something to gain a voice
Mm hmm.
out there, a
Mm hmm.
larger voice, and I developed a larger following because of it.
Yeah.
And I realized that then I don't want to just ask people to vote for me uh, uh, alone and bother them, but I
Right.
want to give something back to them for taking the time to vote for me on a daily basis. In the same way that Bernie will have a conversation and have talks, AOC, Beto O'Rourke. I decided I chose to be a progressive candidate for the people's artists, whether they initially thought that is what they wanted or not. That I see that I'm coming to see the people's artists as something political, that like every every state in the union should have a people's artist, because
Sure.
that's where it's only through the imagination that people are actually going to recover from the insult of what's going on today in our
Yeah.
political stratosphere.
Yeah, I
So
completely agree. I think that artists are often the canary in the coal mine for situations like these, especially political, upheaval and revolution. We as artists, I think it's our duty to, talk about what we're seeing. And
yeah,
yeah, it's
the
just so important.
yeah, and the culture only shifts when our consciousness shifts, and
Mm-hmm.
it is the imagination that gets us there. And so I really felt I began to feel a responsibility to actually include conversations about what we should be doing as a nation
Mm-hmm.
or as a world. The world is in crisis,
Sure.
and and so I felt in order to respect the people who are voting for me and for people who are in this contest, that I'd like to recommend for all artists who are still in the contest to have some ideas for them to gain votes. Like, what an opportunity not to just show off our art, but also to be able to uh, ma- sell art on behalf of have proceeds go to have people be able to uh, buy votes and get art. Or I'm having T-shirts made right now and
Uh-huh.
buttons made as merchandising, and
Yeah.
having that as part of the contest where you vote for me a certain amount of times and you get a free button, or you put down $25 and you get a T-shirt, a Dolly World T-shirt, and also a VIP sitting for the next premiere of a movie, and all the things that I actually produce
Mm-hmm.
in movie wise, you can watch for free on YouTube. So why donate to $25 for something that you can see for free? Well, I don't know why, but
Well, for charity, of course.
for the charity, and also for the
Yeah.
fact that of community, and
Yeah.
community is what's missing right now from the artistic world, of what I came up with in the East Village, in the punk scene, in the art scene there. There is something so important about being together with people, even if you hate their guts.
Yeah. That's
There's
true.
something about working together in small groups of people, 25 to 50, alone, isolated. No, this was a time before the internet, but the time you can, everybody can do that still now. People can still form groups of 25 to 50 people. Nobody has to know what you're doing. And then you have a pop up art show, or you do a premiere somewhere and you show your stuff. And then you go back into hiding with your 25 to 50 people. And that bond between the 25 to 50 people that you're working with becomes really strong, and you get an identity, and you develop your own consciousness from your own unconscious world of your artistic achievement that you're doing. You're now building into other people's lives, and other people, and all the 25 to 50 people in your community, they can have their own 25 to 50 artistic community. And if you
Yeah.
just meet, even just even if you're now, I'm not just talking about bands, or you know
Sure. Well,
even just to go bowling with
yeah,
a
you need
group of people.
community. You need community. The only
It is
thing
most
the only
it
thing that
most
I would say is just
yeah.
to do a little bit of pushback. The only thing I would say is any artists who may be listening to this, read the contract. Just make sure that you're reading whatever contract that you're signing and that you're aware of what is going on in the competition. Cuz like anything you
Yes,
enter, there's risks to
yes,
everything. Just be aware. Just
yes.
be aware.
Now, and I know what you're referring to, that there's been speculation about the contest in terms of ownership and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
I followed through with that, and it's not it's the same kind of stuff where they want to be able to use it for promotional stuff. They're not looking
Sure.
to own your work.
Mhm.
I did research on that as well, so
Okay.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because it's something that I didn't write about. I haven't written about that yet,
Yeah.
but
Do you want something else I thought about?
yeah, 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 absolutely. What I love talking to you about,
Yeah.
and today we only have 7 to 8 hours to chat. I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
kidding.
right.
Just I
I
totally
would
just
we
I
have
totally just I totally just freaked you out.
no,
But
we have probably 6, I want to say.
no, just let's do it. Let's just do an hour today.
Okay.
I don't think
Yeah.
people can handle me for any
That's
longer than that
that's
anyway.
perfect. I think that's a perfectly edible amount of time.
So yes, tell me something else that you discovered.
Um, and so this isn't, this isn't even necessarily positive or negative. One thing just to realize is that one of the prizes is to have, your art on display. But however, they don't pay for your travel. So if you want to go see
Oh
your art
wow!
on if you want to go see your art on display, just know that it will be coming out of your prize money to go check it out.
Look, at this
It's
point,
just one of those,
you have so many. There's so many contestants and so many variables, and the fact that it's
yeah.
involved with, hey, I mean, it's a $25,000 prize, but that's not to say that somebody wouldn't be willing to pay $100,000 to have their kid win. I mean, you can buy this contest. It is a fundraiser, and vote
Yeah.
money counts as votes.
Mhm.
So, and if money if money doesn't matter, then money doesn't matter. And so, the concept of winning is now, the moment that we're talking now, that people can hear this, that I have an agenda. If you read what I write,
Mhm.
you'll find that there's fun things to do right now for everyone to to just keep this contest real for artists to develop their own individuality, a community that they can build on, projects that they can do.
Yeah, a part that I
And
actually didn't even think about was being an artist is so much about self-promotion. And I feel like, a big part of this, a huge massive part of it, it's like an exercise in self-promotion,
yeah,
along with the charity.
it's
There is, silver linings and all that.
the imagination is infrastructure, and we can build the future from this unconscious event that we're doing on this internet exchange.
Mhm.
And and a vote fuels the community to build something strange.
Yeah,
Let's build something strange that we
sure.
don't know, that we've never seen before, because that is what art has historically always done. It's always the art and the imagination. Every single The Renaissance, anything, science, even science it's all coming from the imagination
Yeah.
first. Every religion came from the imagination. Everything has come from the imagination first, and then gets co-opted by the corporation. Even 10,000 years ago, it's co-opted by the corporation. Whoever owned shit then,
Uh-huh.
they're the same fucking owners as now.
I
So
believe it.
that's why it always has to keep moving. Cultural This infrastructure just has to keep building, and
Yeah, the community.
it becomes a network that is shared, and then it becomes public. And once it becomes public, then it gets co-opted, and the artists have to retreat back in, and create something else that is not understood at first, and
Mhm.
then release it when they feel that it's good enough to be released, and the community has fun with it again. And when it's successful, because people are dancing.
Yes. Yeah, that's so
We
important.
have to be dancing and laughing, and then you've actually created something that is helpful for people to deal with their fears
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
negativity. And
Yeah.
you're looking at something that becomes just bigger, and
Yeah.
and and
It's
scares the fuck out of corporations,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like
scares the
it is
fuck out
so
of
easy.
technocrats.
It's so
you know and,
easy
and
to lose sight of how important that community is, and how many more of us there are than there are of them. I just
uh,
wanted to go back real quick
yeah, yeah,
to
sure,
what you were
please.
saying about, groups of
Sorry,
25.
Sometimes I get wrapped up and I get excited, and I
it,
take over.
it is
My apologies.
it is okay. I was just telling Rachel earlier, my Rachel, mind you.
Yeah.
I started reading this book, in anticipation of our anticipation of our talk called "Do You See What I See? The Memoirs of a Blind Biker." Have you ever heard of it?
Wow. Tell me about it.
It's Russell Targ.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was a he was legally blind, but he liked to ride motorcycles. And so,
Wow.
he's,
I forgot that. And uh what was that like for him? Uh how did he do?
he did great. He talks about, growing up in New York City, the way that he was able to get started cuz he's legally blind, so he can't legally drive. He started on a bicycle and he got a doctor's note from his doctor, who was like, yeah, he can't see necessarily details as well because he's, nearsighted, but he can see in terms of things farther away. He can see enough, as evidenced by the fact that he's riding a bicycle around New York City and has not died. So he could see enough in terms of the grand picture or the larger picture, that he's able to navigate on the road. And I'm nearsighted too, and I've actually driven. Don't tell the police, but I've driven without my glasses on more than one occasion, and it's really not that crazy because everything, is bigger out, so you can kind of see, even if it's blurry, you can still get the major the major ideas of what's
You,
going
you,
on.
you know, I don't drive because I see things,
Oh
and so
well, that's a whole different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see things that aren't there,
Okay.
and so it becomes and there like I have something wrong with my eyes. Like
Yeah.
there are things that are right in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
and my Rachel will say, "What the fuck is wrong with you? It's right in front of you." And so I went and I had eye check, and they said you can't see what's right in front of you.
Hmm.
You have to look slightly askew to see what it is that you have. I forgot what they call it, but
Hmm.
I have this thing where I can't see what's right in front of me, and so maybe that's why I look at things a little differently. Because in order to
Yeah.
see what's right in front of me, I have to change my head to
You have
to
to
the
come
right
from
or
the
the left to
side.
see it to
You
the
have to.
side.
So anyway, so I don't even know how I got off on that tangent. Um, I was talking originally about how you were talking about, groups of people and, getting groups of people. And so I was reading, also I've been reading, have you heard of this guy? His name is Witold Pilecki.
What's the name?
Witold Pilecki. It's Polish.
No, tell me about this.
So this guy, Witold Pilecki, was pretty crazy. He was an officer in the Polish army during World War I and World War II. And when World War II was happening, he intentionally got himself captured under a fake name, by the Nazis, and to go organize resistance from the inside of Auschwitz.
Oh yes, I remember actually you talking about it. I didn't remember his
Yeah.
name. Tell me more about this guy. So he tried to he he went into it would be like someone going into the a left wing person going into the Trump administration.
Right. And yeah. Yeah, I could see some similar. I mean, yeah, more like into an ice camp, like,
Oh,
saying that his
okay.
name is, pretending he can't speak English, or changing his last
Yeah,
name and then
I,
going
I
into
love it.
an
And
ice camp.
what did he find out about it?
So, besides, the obviously horrible conditions and all the, the industrial murder,
Yeah.
uh, his his strategy was to form all these unrelated groups of 5 people. He called them fives. And so he would go just around the camp. He was skilled, so he did like some carpentry, and he did some carving, and like I think he went to the tanners at one point. So he was like he was a skilled guy. He was in the military, and so he would just go around to different parts of the camp and form these little pockets of resistance, and the pockets of resistance would like get food to people who needed it, and
Did
just take care
did the
take care of people.
prisoners did anyone ever catch on to him?
No, he made it out the other end.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten to the end of the book yet, so I don't know if anything's super, if how close he's gotten to being caught. But he really, that it really made me think of what you were talking about, where it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's community. If we're not able to talk to each other, if we're not able to bring ourselves together around some sort of common cause, then we're truly lost.
Yeah, during the first Trump administration, there were a lot of people who felt that they had to stay in their office in order to protect whatever democracy we have
Right,
left,
right.
and so they stayed. And in some ways, now that the second administration came in, which knocked out all the DOJ and all the people. There was something to that they were able to keep him a little more under control than in this administration, which he was able to eliminate everyone and put in his own people in the DOJ and et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
there is something to be said for people to enter the system in order to keep an eye on the system to try to keep it as even keel and not as scary a place as it can become, as we're seeing now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. What do you think? What do you think Mark Fisher would have to say?
What do I think? What?
I said, what do you think Mark Fisher would have to say about today's world?
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing the name of
Mark
who.
Fisher.
Oh, Mark Fisher.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
Mark Fisher. Oh, Mark Fisher. Sorry, Mark
No.
Fisher is just amazing,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the same world, really.
Mm-hmm.
He predicted. It's the thing about people who have visions of the future and see the future is they're just writing about today. So I think there's nothing that would surprise Mark about. He wrote this great book called Capitalist Realism,
Right.
in
Right.
which he basically says we're just recycling ourselves, and this is where my idea for just having artists work in groups of 25 to 50,
Mm-hmm.
where they're just isolated and alone and doing their thing,
Mm-hmm.
and not paying attention to what's going on the internet, because the internet is recycling the old stuff of what has already been.
Right.
They just we just keep getting recycled stuff, and which is so crushing. You know,
Absolutely.
our, the imagination has to always be moving forward, or moving in different directions and seeing things that haven't been seen before by people's imaginations that are getting uncovered by their explorations, and how there was a time, where more people were involved with their own imaginations, even in my life, and even in, every beatniks from outer space.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about beatniks from outer space. The Beat Generation, the Dadaists, the '60s generation of people who were creative and writing stuff, and there was a population out there, a world population that was listening to stuff that was new and exciting. So when Sergeant Pepper's was released,
Mm-hmm.
you could hear that from coast to coast on radio. And it was something new. There was opportunity for some new sounds to be heard. People were listening when the internet was first new. You could hear the new things. Now everything has been recycled. So you're not hearing a lot of the music that is out there that is new and exciting. There, it could be in pockets on the internet, but
Yeah, you
it's
have
not
to search
being
for it.
expressed in this. You're not walking into a supermarket and hearing Magical Mystery Tour or
Yeah.
or, or not just Beatles, but anything, Jimi Hendrix or anyone who's doing something exciting and different. It's not as obviously heard, but the people are still out there doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I think
how do we
that's
how do we get the regular folks out there to see something new and different? Maybe a pop-up film festival, maybe pop-up art show or things like that from
yeah.
communities of people
What I'm
who
hoping
are.
is what I'm hoping will happen is have you heard about the dead internet theory?
Oh no, what is that?
So the dead internet theory is once there will come a point, especially with AI, where all the information on the internet is either just fully manipulated or fully artificial. And so you will go on the internet and you won't be able to actually get anything useful from it because it will all be just clogged up with bots and advertisers. And I guess now with AI, it will just customize whatever it wants you to see to get you to buy something or something along those lines. And so we're going to reach this point of critical mass where nobody's has any use for the internet anymore, and we all just kind of go back to talking to each other again.
I love that idea. I mean, and I
Right?
know my kids are. You have a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old,
Yeah.
and they both are down on internet and uh, I think considering to be they help me with any computer stuff if I need it, but they
That's
also
good.
are also impressed with being Luddites
Yeah.
and in trying to, yeah. And there are libraries throughout this country that have books that how to do things in case the world does fall apart. I mean, for what reason could we suspect that we're always going to have electricity and the internet, or why would at any moment, why would it be possible for the internet to just be cut off by some random terrorist organization
Yeah.
or hackers? Just a quick story about
Yeah,
hearing.
go
So
for it.
my grandfather would complain. He was a Holocaust survivor, and my family survived in hiding, and one night he had a fight with Nazis, and they hit
Yeah.
him in the side of his head with a gun,
Wow.
and so he lost hearing on one ear.
Mhm.
But my grandmother insisted that he could hear, and she would say in Yiddish, "Kiss my tuchus," which means kiss my ass, and she would whisper it to us, and
Yeah.
my grandfather would turn his head and look at us. that, that was their fancy joke.
That's so funny. Old folks, they they got it, man. There's something about I guess just living life and not
well,
taking things
well,
too seriously.
well, I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'm trying slowly but surely.
Yeah,
But what I did want to do
yeah,
is we had started in our conversation the other day. We had started
yeah.
going down the religion road. I don't know how much time you have left to
Sure.
talk, but I thought maybe we could just
Let's
maybe
go
chat a
for
little
it.
bit about religion. I think we got
Yeah, yeah,
like 20 minutes.
yeah. Okay. Uh, I just
Yeah.
go. You start first because
Okay.
you brought this up. I
Yeah.
asked you. Did you listen to that guy?
I listened to that video you sent me where he kind of talks about his life a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I think
Say whatever you want. I'm totally into this right now.
okay. Yeah, well, just to give the audience some context, we had just been talking about, religion a little bit. I had mentioned that, I have considered myself for the most part an atheist. And, I've I think we both have, were raised religiously in our upbringings. I was raised Roman Catholic, went to Catholic school, and so I think from the get go, I've always been kind of um, an anti-authoritarian, and so that really kind of was my first foray into like something um, you could argue about, something you could have real discussions about that people that yeah that people take seriously. There's a whole there are whole lines of education, dissertations, all sorts of stuff on all sorts of religions. So that really, I think, first led me into my foray into like just kind of studying anthropological sort of things, especially religion. So yeah, it's something I like to talk about and explore. Really, it's has some of the biggest effects on our culture in the past to today. Really, yeah, moves mountains.
100%.
Faith.
And so you're raised Roman Catholic,
Yes.
and 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 your family, are they religious?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Because my experience is actually different.
Okay.
I was a child of a Holocaust survivor and
Right.
being raised in the Bronx, and she sent me to yeshiva, and I think it was to learn about how cruel people are in the world.
Oh
It-
man.
because in yeshiva, I wasn't Orthodox, wasn't religious. There I am with rabbis who are religious and
Yeah.
zero Orthodox. I'm ostracized by the kids. The rabbis are hitting me. And then I leave the school and I'm wearing a yarmulke and tzitzis in the Bronx. And I think that's where frisbee was invented because the kids
Mm.
would
Mhm.
I was the Christ killer.
Yeah.
I learned how to fight. And what my mother taught me by sending me to this school was how mean all people are. There's a percentage of all people who are mean,
Sure.
and then there are people who are just and want to do good. And it doesn't take many people to of cruelty to think that it's a cruel world. Like
Mhm.
you can see 100 people, and 100 people are the sweetest things, but the one motherfucker who knocks you down and makes you bleed now will make you think that it's a cruel world,
I
and it
think
doesn't necessarily mean that.
yeah, I think man, and it's such an important lesson to learn. But at the same time, it is so interesting to me to think about how there is that like that mechanism, that desire to share trauma, I guess, because it was the same thing with my parents. My parents both went to Catholic schools, and they love telling stories about how the nuns would smack them around or like wrap their knuckles with rulers and stuff like that. Fortunately, I didn't really have to deal with that, but it's like looking back, and I'm like, that's what you wanted for me. You went into that situation and enjoyed it enough, or feel like you got enough out of it that you wanted to subject us to it too. What sense does that make? But I think there is really something to like teaching people the reality of the world, in maybe a
Yeah.
safer forum like school, as opposed to out in the street where who knows what can happen.
Well, so what what the positive side of what the the yeshiva gave me, right? Check
Mm-hmm.
this out. This is what's crazy.
Okay.
So they teach you how to pray in Hebrew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm repeating for a couple of hours a day all this Hebrew stuff, and I don't know what the meaning of any of the words are. And it's kind of like, I'm just meditating in my corner of this in this school for
Yeah.
a couple hours, and then I'm being punished for not listening. And
Mm-hmm.
punishment was the best thing that ever happened to me,
Yeah.
because I would sit there, I would be punished to go sit in the corner or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just say, that's where my imagination just went wild,
Yeah.
and I could just like spend all my time thinking of stories and you know uh, creating other episodes of Gilligan's Island and the Munsters, and because that's the TV shows that I was raised in, or just anything of my imagination. And so that they gave me that kind of teaching gave me time to then be able to sit for 12 to 15 hours and write a story or make a collage, or you know and just drift off into this unconsciousness. So
Mm-hmm.
they established for me not lectures on how what to believe in, but actually for me it was a way to learn how to be more of myself in some ways.
Mm.
It's an
Mm.
interesting. And so what's great is, think about this for just one moment
Okay.
to start us off on religious conversation. So
Sure.
people believe in their own religion, right?
Yeah.
They grew up with Judaism or Christianity or whatever, and they believe in it, right? Wholeheartedly. And they don't believe that other people's religions are real.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that make them? If you don't believe that other religions are real, you're called a if you don't
A a monotheist, or
where
a supremacist,
well,
perhaps.
no, you're kind of atheist except for the other people's religions. You don't believe in religion except your own. So
Well, yeah. Well, that's
you're kind of
monotheist. You're a
monotheist.
monotheist.
Yeah, a monotheist is really an atheist who just believes in their own thing, but not other people's. So they are more a monotheist is so connected to an atheist in many ways.
Well, atheism isn't a belief system.
Right. Except some people think that it might. Hey, what happened to the audio just now?
It sounds like there's a sink running upstairs. You might be hearing.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm in the basement, so there's
No, no,
lots of
no.
noises.
It's fine.
Sorry.
Uh, it, but here's the thing. Here's. Do you have anything else that you want to
Oh,
say about atheism in terms
um,
of?
just yeah, just to maybe explain a little bit more what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean
please.
in terms of it in order to have a belief. It's like the burden of proof, basically. If you are saying that there is a God, I, as an atheist, am saying prove it. I'm not saying that I necessarily believe that your God doesn't exist. I just believe that you don't have the evidence to prove that it does. And until
Right.
that evidence is presented, like, the burden is on whoever is saying the belief is real, you know, as
This is
opposed
what
to.
this is what I'm going to say to you
Mm-hmm.
as someone who knows a little bit about you and shares uh, uh, ideas of understanding that there are things in this world that are unexplainable,
Sure, sure.
and so for a lot of people, things that happen that are unexplainable, like if you look up, there was the flying nun, for example. There actually was you've heard that there was an actual flying nun reported, or that there are things that happen in this world that
Yeah.
don't have explanations for. And historically, Isaac Newton was an occultist. Jung was an occultist. Freud was too. I mean, these
Mm-hmm.
people were working within science, but they were occultists. And what does occult mean? It's unknown science. It's unknown things that are happening that haven't been explained yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But a lot of science came out of occult sciences and stuff. So the only thing that I would say about atheism of is not to cut yourself off from the possibility. Don't allow it to cut yourself off. Or
Sure.
I don't allow. I don't have. I don't. My religion is that I've studied religions, and I treat it like I've walked into a delicatessen, and I'll say, give me a quarter pound Judaism,
Mm-hmm.
and give me a half a pound of Buddhism, and I'll just put in my order. And there are things that I take from all religions and all mythologies that help me to have become who I am,
Yeah.
and it roots me, it grounds me into the idea of that there are possibilities of this world that I don't need to ever know about or care about in terms of things, whether they're, you know, how things that aren't explainable, they're not explainable, but they exist. I'm not going to ignore things that happen to me, like synchronicities and stuff that seem cosmic, and not allow myself to say that is just weird and godly, and I mean, which is what all the quantum scientists actually know.
Y-
When you think about all the third eye spies and all the people who were in the program that we spoke about last time,
mm-hmm.
they they had science as their basis for knowledge that there was occult stuff of things that they didn't understand. That's why they were able to see things 1,000 miles away, 10,000 miles away, and in other galaxies, because they understood that their understanding of physics allowed them to know that within the universe, atoms were just being moved, and that there's actually nothing solid, and that matter, the stuff that we say is real, doesn't really matter. That,
Yeah.
you
Uh-huh.
follow me? And
Sure.
so they
Sure.
they were
Yeah.
able they were able to transcend to whatever it is. That's why I calling my trilogy of books Beatniks from Outer Space, because there's something cosmic out there. Who cares what exactly it is? It doesn't have to have a name of a religion. And this is kind of what how all religions start, that it's cosmic and out there, and there's a spirituality that's bigger than all of us, and then it gets compressed into, you know this is what this religion is, and then you have a leader, and that's where it all gets ruined. Because
Yeah.
but the basic ideas throughout history is all still there, that there's some force, there's an energy out there that's flowing, and usually if it's something positive and connected to love, it's just a wonderful experience that you can feel the connection. I mean, in fact, I'm glad you brought this up, because it connects back to even this contest of what other people's experience of this contest is, and how I'm treating it, and what I want it to become. And I
Mm.
want it to become a cosmic force, because that's where the energies, when everyone on a planet is starting to look at things all in the same positive way, then all this positive stuff starts happening for the planet, and it becomes this energetic force of laughter, and it makes you want to dance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I completely agree with that. I think one
It's
of
the
the I think
frequencies.
one of the beauties of atheism is that it allows you to say, I don't know. It allows us to not necessarily come up with an explanation if we don't have one or are incapable of coming up with one.
Well, I agree with that, and I'm an atheist, and I just won't call myself an atheist because of maybe some of the misunderstanding that
Yeah,
goes
I think
goes
there's
along with. I don't want there to be any discrepancy of understanding that I mean, I just think that there's forces out there that I don't understand, and I don't need to understand, and I'm just looking for these frequencies to come through me and share them back, transmit them back,
sure.
just have a dialogue with frequencies that I don't understand, and don't even care that I need to know about.
Sure. If you're interested at all, there's a wonderful YouTube program, you may have heard of it, called The Atheist Experience with Matt Dillahunty.
Oh, you know what? Send that to me, and why don't you put that in the link in the podcast too?
Okay, yeah, I'll send it to you. But basically, I mean, it's lots of clips. It's like a public access TV channel, and so
Oh,
people call in and we'll ask him questions. And basically, what he says about his, atheism is that his entire purpose is to find as many true things as possible and to dispel as many untrue things as he can. It's the search for truth.
the only problem I have with that is that there's, when you think of the definition of occultism, the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
that there are things that you're never going to know about.
Absolutely.
You don't know what truth is, what's necessarily real. There's a lot of unexplained phenomena, even ghosts. Even what does what does even Jung have to say about alien stuff? I mean, there. How did the alien phenomena start? When did it start? Is that part of a new religiosity that
Hmm.
maybe came into consciousness of I mean, that's one of the perceptions, is that is something new from the unconscious. I mean, that's what I'm playing around with in my novels, with in Beatniks from Outer Space, that there's unconscious forces out there
Yeah.
that, but even whatever these beings and entities are, they they may not be explainable, but they have a life of its own, and I don't want to cut off anything that has potential to the imagination and say, well, that's not provable. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. I don't care if it doesn't have to be provable to be part of my imagination and be real.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you see the
I
difference?
Yeah, I mean that's it sounds like life, We can't operate without some form of belief. If
Yeah.
we didn't have any kind of reason to go out and do the things that we do, um we wouldn't do anything. And I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
think that's a realistic I don't think that's realistic for any human to just not have any set of beliefs. It's
right.
just how
I
we're
mean,
programmed.
I think that yeah, I mean, we're all we all, no matter how much we want to discover new things and try to change, we came into this matrix. You were given Roman Catholicism, I was given Judaism, I was given a set of beliefs
Yeah.
about this world. But and the thing that here's another great thing, another great lesson that my mother gave me was that when I was already a young adult, my in the mid '80s, my mother brought me to her psychiatrist, and I was like, okay, maybe my mom wants, as a Holocaust survivor, there
Mhm.
were things that she wasn't able to express to me about war or emotions, and I thought, oh, you know what, maybe she's going to express something new and exciting to me about our relationship and stuff. And she brought me to her therapist because she she wanted to discuss why I was anti-Semitic,
Yeah.
and she said that I was anti-Semitic, and I'm like, "What do you mean anti-Semitic?
Mhm.
Did you see my Hitler tattoo on my ass? I mean, what is it that is what makes you say I'm anti-Semitic?" And it
Right.
was because I believed in a two-state solution for Israel.
Right, right. I remember you saying
So
that.
my own mother, a Holocaust survivor, someone who sent me to a yeshiva, someone, I was bar mitzvahed. I never disrespected traditions that were Jewish, but because I wanted a two-state solution for Israel, automatically became the enemy. And this is my
Yeah.
own mother.
And it's kind of
And
wild because I hear that they didn't really treat Holocaust survivors that well in Israel
uh,
after
you
the
know,
fact.
it's. I mean, my God, Israel is like a 2,000 year discussion to
Yeah,
get through.
yeah.
But the only point that I'm making by telling you this is that things are so complicated and people get their own belief systems. And then once you have a belief system, you're looking at the rest of the world to prove that your belief system is right.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you hear something that says that your belief system is wrong, you are easily able to deny it, and you just keep looking at the facts, the details, the people who are saying the things that you want to believe as the truth. And
Right.
it's really that's
That.
how that's how simplistic we are. That's how I mean, and it takes an awful, as you know, because I know. I mean, what I love about having our conversations is that you've read as much as me. You're
I wouldn't
always
say that.
exploring. Well, you're always exploring new
Yeah.
ideas and new consciousness and ways of thinking,
Yeah.
and you
Thank
realize
you.
that you you are changing. We are changing because we are looking and we're exploring and we're always asking the questions, and that's what keeps the imagination alive and percolating.
Yeah.
Those are things that's really s- still what I want to work for within this context for as long as it goes, and then beyond that, to just allow the imagination for people to keep growing. And from that
Yes.
comes new ideas, new religions will come out of it. New religions are already forming, but a lot of the religions that are forming now are not coming from an honest place. They're coming from a manipulative place, like the QAnon
Right.
phenomenon,
How do
where the
you? Yeah, I think that was a big part of my atheistic, journey too, is realizing that there are, bad actors. Of course, there are bad actors in, in any industry, but especially in religion, you have, bad actors where the idea is to kind of crystallize belief in a way that benefits the people at the top and give answers to questions that we don't necessarily have answers to in a way to make people act a certain way. I feel like a lot of organized religion is really a tool just, of mass control of the population. And so,
there
part
are
of that was like modern religions, like say like Mormonism or something like that, where you have like a guy who was known to be a con man, Joseph Smith,
right.
in out of Palmyra, New York, actually, and they got pretty much kicked out of every place that they stopped because they were a cult until they got to Utah, and he wanted to have a bunch of wives and stuff, and you see like modern religions and how that is like for a lot of them and cults and things like that. Scientology is another one where you
Yeah.
just have like these people at the top who want the ability to manipulate people at a mass level.
Yeah, I mean, that is Trumpism as well. And, and
Exactly.
and the
Exactly.
thing that I'll tell you is that's why I keep talking about these small groups of 25 to 50 people who are
Yeah.
working together to create their own individual personalities and their own, because that's the checks and balances. That's who checks the new religions that come up once they become popularized, and there's always someone who wants to manipulate and control, and is an opportunist.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I believe that the thing that's wrong with your power corrupts, power corrupts ultimately.
Yeah, like
You know,
absolute power corrupts
absolutely.
absolutely or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is written by. I believe that is written by people who are looking to con people to make sure that's how you keep people down. You don't
Yeah.
want power. I want as much power as I can get. I want to feel like I'm striding through life as a powerful individual. As a warrior. I
Yeah.
want to. I want to be a warrior, and I think that's bullshit about the power. And I think those people need to be put in their place about that power. I'm they recognize their own manipulative ways with the power that they have, and one of the ways to keep people down is to say that power is something bad. Power is not something bad. Can you imagine if everyone walked around feeling powerful? Uh, but
What a
but
world.
but not not narcissistically powerful, or not just powerful within their own way of being, because they trust themselves, they trust their own individuality, not that they're powerful because they believe in someone else's ideologies,
Mm-hmm.
but powerful
Because
because they believe in themselves. They're a true
yes, yes,
warrior. That
yes,
true warrior spirit is what I'm talking about.
absolutely. I
I'm sorry,
completely
I'm
agree.
getting very emotional about this,
No,
but
no, I love it. Because
you know,
I completely agree. I think that that is the biggest thing, that all of this, everything comes from inside of ourselves, because we
yeah.
are, because that's the only interaction we have with the world is through our own lens. You know, we can never see the world through somebody else's eyes as much as we may try. We can only interpret it through ourselves. And when we,
And we also have to be careful with it because of the possibility of the shadow aspect of things that are ego that
mm-hmm,
might get in the way and make us make mistakes about that as well. I've
yeah,
certainly thought that I was doing or saying something positive and for the right reasons, to discover that I had something going on that I was being manipulative about. And my apologies uh, to 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 myself and those who I hurt by saying or doing something
mm-hmm,
where I thought I was saying or doing something positive and powerful, only to find out that maybe I was being manipulative myself. So it's a checks and balances on myself as well.
sure, sure. And yeah, I guess we have that's it's an interesting thing because we also need to rely on each other too. We
Yeah.
can't just you can't just count on yourself.
No.
Unfortunately,
No.
that's a
No.
sad. It's a sad life, a sad, empty
Yeah.
life, really.
I mean, and that's even when I'm saying that 25 to 50 people, it doesn't stay isolated forever. You make a project and put it out there, or you have a political movement or whatever it is. You put it out there in the world, and then you reflect back by other people, and the ones who you trust the most are the ones who also did the same thing of working in small groups. And I came out of this out of like from seeing hundreds of bands in the 70s and 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and each band is kind of like a group of 25 to 50 people, because you have the four members of the band, and you have
Mm-hmm.
their girlfriends and their family that come to see it. So most bands that you see, when you see the first fan base, it's about 25 to 50 people
Sure.
who have been working together, or there's the artist who made the cover for the record.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
small little communities, and then it goes out there into the world, and you exchange some ideas, or you let loose some vibrations on your musical instruments, and then you retreat back. What did we learn from that experience? And then you each individual figures something out, and then as the band works together. So it's constantly movement, and that's kind of where I'm getting this idea from, of
Okay.
like 25 to 50 people working together, putting it out there, going, retreating back, uh, and communities are formed, and you've succeeded when people are dancing and laughing and
Mm-hmm.
having a good time.
Yeah.
That's the test of the challenge against the things that are scary out there.
Okay. So if you had to issue a challenge out to our listening public, what would it be?
Well, there's a
How
couple of
can they start?
challenges. Yeah, there's a couple of challenges out there uh, that I put forth, and one is this idea that the book Confederacy of Dunces should become
Yeah,
a national day, and it's a great fun read,
it's a great
and
book.
it's a really great book, and it should be a national holiday. And I've written about it, and there's a letter that you can send to your congressman about that. And then
Mm-hmm.
another thing, another challenge out there is to find your own book that you
Mm-hmm.
want, and think of what you would want to be as a national. That's a challenge. What book would you want to see as a national holiday? And and maybe we should make maybe there should be a book a day challenge for every day of the year, like Dostoevsky. There's so many great books out there. I could definitely come up with 365 of my own.
That'd
Maybe
be awesome.
everybody needs to come up with a book of the day that where they read a book and they want to make a holiday out of it each day of the year for themselves.
Yeah,
And
I say
for,
we start
for
planning. I say we start planning for the death of the internet. Let's start preparing. Let's start preparing now.
Okay, and okay, I like so then kill this podcast.
Yeah,
Maybe maybe the
or
name of
put it on
this
the radio.
maybe the name of this maybe the name of this podcast episode is Kill This Podcast.
Kill this podcast. I like this. It could be. It could even be the name of the podcast. Honestly,
It could be.
it's not. That's a catchy name. I think.
Yeah,
Kill this
yeah,
podcast.
yeah. But and then in parentheses, not the podcaster, right?
All right, I'm putting that in parentheses. I'll make it work. Well, it's been an hour and 11 minutes.
Okay.
How you feeling?
Well, we just dropped the mic. Mike, we just
Yeah,
dropped the
we just dropped the mic, Mike.
All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's do this again soon.
Please,
I
yeah,
loved it so much, and
yeah,
I hope other people give it the time.
absolutely. I think there's a lot going on in the world today, and so there's an infinite fount of content. And like like I try to say to you, I feel like you have an incredibly unique and entertaining take on the world, and I just love hearing about it. So whenever you wanna chat and catch up,
Yeah. Oh
I'm
man,
here to chat with you.
if you could explain that to my Rachel, I'd really appreciate
If you could explain that to my Rachel,
it.
I'm down in the basement right now, lest
Yeah,
we forget.
that's right.
But yeah, we'll cross pollinate. We'll figure something out.
All right. I got a big smile on my face, and
Excellent.
I'm going to do some dancing
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, that's a beautiful first step.
now.
Have a good one, Larry. I'll catch you on the flip side.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.